All right, welcome everyone. We are doing what should be our final playthrough of What Remains of Edith Finch. And here we go. I believe last time I had made it almost nearly to the top of this wild house. So let's see.
Milton Finch in The Magic Paintbrush.
That was cool.
I was 4 when Milton disappeared.
Oh, wow. Let's see. What else do we have here?
Mom spent months searching for my brother. Then she sealed the doors. Whatever Milton had found in the house, Mom didn't want it getting out.
Maybe it was the paintbrush? Huh.
Mom definitely blamed Edie, but I think Lewis blamed himself. After he graduated, he just spent more and more time in his room. Until Mom got him a job at the cannery.
That's no good. Oh. life, I would be freaking out, because the heights would be getting to me.
Lewis's room smelled very, very familiar. That part of him lived on.
Dear Mrs. Finch, as Lewis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse. Newly sober, I believe Lewis first noticed the monotony of his daily life. He kept working at the cannery. But he withdrew part of himself. In our sessions, I saw the same behavior. His mind began to wander.
Oh, this is wild. Okay. So with my left Joy-Con, I
asked him to describe it.
Oh,
he said he started small, imagining a labyrinth.
So I'm still continuing to do the fish thing with my right hand, the Joy-Con and the right trigger, but I'm controlling the labyrinth guy with the left Joy-Con. This is wild.
Then something moved. Bats. And toads. And things that have not names. He knew it was all in his head. He took it very seriously. I had hoped he'd find himself.
It's like a video game in a video game.
But he found something more. I worried about him then. Daydreaming at the cannery. I spoke with his boss. But he said Lewis had become a model employee. Methodical, tireless, focused. Like a whole new Lewis. So I let him go on. I even encouraged him. It seemed very promising at first. He told me he'd made a new friend. On the edge of a city he named Lewis Utopia. He built the city up slowly, brick by brick. Then he made musicians. And songs for them to play. He talked about starting a band. And he was always humming something. Every day his imagination grew stronger. He no longer spoke at the cannery. But his chopping was as reliable as ever. Then one day it struck him that all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination, so he could do whatever he wished. He held an election for mayor, and he won. They begged him to stay, but his mind was already wandering. It became a game for him. He'd conquer a city, then immediately push on. New Louisville. St. Louis. He started drifting away from our reality. Minneapolis, until one day he forgot to go home from the cannery. Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of Louis kept sailing on. In Louisburg, he heard rumors of a beautiful prince. The prince was on his own quest for sinister serpents. He followed the sound of his electric sitar. His chase led him to a golden palace east of the sun and west of the moon. Even then, his logic remained sound. He knew the world was all in his imagination. But he was so proud of having created it. In his own eyes, he'd become something greater than a king.
An emperor?
For someone who'd never known success in the real world, I think it was overwhelming. And then it struck him that the real Louis was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace. My imagination is as real as my body, he told me. It was hard to argue with him. began to forget the world we know. I think it pained him to remember Lewis, the cannery worker. He began to despise the man with a royal contempt. I still thought I could save him. Even after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder. The palace would be packed with his companions. Calico and insisted on advising him. Only one thing left to do. Bend down his head.
Oh my God.
And the rest I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
Oh my God. What the fuck? That was so fucked up.
My brother was really cool. I wish you could have met him.
Wow. Depressing.
Lewis and I spent a lot of time playing games together, but he was surprisingly bad at them. He died a lot.
I missed anything. I think I just triggered me going back into...
Everyone always told me to stay out of Lewis's room. Except Lewis. On the way back from Lewis's funeral, my mom told me to start packing. She waited until the day before we left to tell Edie. I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder. I wish we'd stayed. But I understand why we left.
Probably. Because this place is like a
My mom
hazard.
ended up leaving everything behind.
Like, I feel like one big storm and this whole top part's
What
coming
happened that
off.
night had been coming for a long time. Maybe it should have come sooner.
This is my room.
But it had to end one way or another. All that's left now is to tell you about that last night. That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
"To our final night together, and all our final nights apart."
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
the power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles. When my mom sealed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance.
Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories. I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight. We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning. Okay?
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out. It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground. There'd been an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean. They called it the lowest tide in 1,000 years. God, it smelled awful. You know, I've seen that house every day of my life. But I never thought I'd go back to it. When the fog rolled in, I lost my way. I got turned around. For a while, I wondered. I started seeing things.
Oh, Jesus.
Things I'd forgotten had ever existed. But when I saw them, they felt like old friends. That night, a lot of things came back to me. Or maybe I came back to them. Things I can't explain, but that I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine.
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it! Let go! I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car. I never saw Great Grandma Edie again.
What happened?
The next morning, the van came to pick her up, but she was already gone. After that, we moved around a lot. We both tried to make the best of it. A few years went by. My mom didn't like to talk about it. But she started getting sick a lot. The rest happened pretty quickly. She got better for a while, and then she didn't. And then I was alone. The last Finch left alive. Until I found out about you. I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes. And appreciate how strange and brief all of this is. This journal was supposed to be for you. But now I hope you'll never see it. I just want to meet you and tell you all these stories myself. But I guess if you're reading this now, things didn't work out that way. This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
apparently Johann was important enough to get a whole achievement named after them. Well, everyone, that was What Remains of Edith Finch. It was a very immersive game, certainly. Uplifting, not quite, but a very good study in video game narration, storytelling, and even, I think, pushing some boundaries of like what gameplay can be, I suppose, with narrative stories rather than just being a specific character and experiencing different things as that character. Wow, what an awesome picture for Megan. To be able to actually be the memory characters, like the past characters, and enter their memories and be able to do fun mechanics with those. What, Neil Druckmann was a playtester of this? That's wild. Neil Druckmann, the creative director of The Last of Us. I wonder if any of the same designers or programmers work for Naughty Dog. That's so interesting. So, the end. Yeah, this game was made by the same team who... Oh, cool. Replay a story. Oh, so you can go back, pick a story, and do it now. That's cool. Shoot, now I'm blanking on the name of the game. The Unfinished Swan. It's the same developers, and I remember playing the demo of that game almost 10 years ago, I want to say, on my PlayStation 3. I don't know if I ever bought the full game, but oh, that's interesting. There were some callbacks to the Unfinished Swan in Edith Finch, which is really cool. So, if you liked this game, go check out that one. And yeah, keep following us. This is your Danger Mom, Andrew. We go live every Monday and Wednesday here on twitch.tv/ChasmQuest. I go live on Mondays for Danger Mom Mondays, and Taylor goes live for We Play Wednesdays. Taylor is playing through Biomutant. I think he's on his like 5th or 6th installment of that. I finished up Vampire the Masquerade Swan Song last week while I was recovering from a minor surgery, so I did not stream. I just didn't have the energy to do it on streaming, but I was very intrigued by Vampire the Masquerade Swan Song and really enjoyed the finish of that game. So another cool storytelling video game with choices and options and dialogue and game mechanics from a TTRPG. So yeah, if you like TTRPGs or storytelling video games or game mechanics being mixed with storytelling, that's what we're all about here at ChasmQuest. And don't forget to check out our podcast. We have 3.5 seasons on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get podcasts, and always check out what we're doing at ChasmQuest.com. Follow us on social medias and all that. And until next week, stay rowdy.